Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about Episode 6, Season 1 of the Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Acolyte. The episode entitled, Teach/Corrupt. We open with Osha finally regaining consciousness after being knocked out by her sister last episode. She is now on an unknown planet that looks a lot like Octu from The Last Jedi. Why it would be unknown? I don't unknown to Osha. Like, you could still give the planet's name, Feklar 7 or whatever. Anyway, but okay, it's just odd that they gave it the unknown planet name. Anyway, she's had her wounds tended to by Chimere during her unconsciousness. She wakes up. She goes in search of him. Eventually finding him nude bathing. A very awkward scene there. But yes, that's how we open. We end with Saul having stunned May into unconsciousness. So these sisters get knocked out so many times. Anyway, all right, she wakes up restrained. And Saul promises for the fifth time this season to explain what happened 16 years. I mean, it's comical now. I just wait for the show to find a reason for him not to tell us what happened 16 years ago. And sure enough, they cut right when he's like, "You will listen." Cut. Okay. Great.
Not you. You can go away. Not maybe, you, audience.
Yeah. And we never knew. All right, anyway, so that's maybe a next episode. Who knows? They might have another reason why that gets and then the last shot is Osha donning Chimere's Cortosis helmet, very Darth Vader-like, though she's likely only putting it on in this moment to experience the sensory deprivation training that it provides. But it obviously shows that, maybe she could be headed toward the dark side. All that said, Paul.
Yes?
What'd you think of Episode 6?
5.5, I guess,
okay.
Which is in the range of the last episode, I guess. There were a number of good things, or I should say, number of things that if you told me, this is what they're going to do, I'd be like, that's good. That's what they should do, as an example. Okay. So, little Osha wakes up, and it's like, oh, no, where am I? Here's that guy who killed all those people, and what's he going to do to me? And he's like, I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just going to talk to you. And I'm going about my business, and you're like, think I'm going to kill you, don't you? No! That's good. It's okay. It's certainly she's always holding up her ready to go, and no, it's just the execution was lacking. The other opportunity I think that's lacking is fine. You're getting an idea that the Jedi have their idea of what this force is, and the witches have their idea about what that is, and that's fine. But there's still not enough there to make me actually think that, I feel like it's just going to come down to like, good versus evil. Boom. If you use your anger and your hate.
Yeah, right. So he's definitely giving the Emperor's, spiel to Anakin, right?
Yeah.
Sides of the Force that some might feel are unnatural, or whatever. Yeah. Give in to your hatred.
And of course, Yoda was telling him all the time, "Don't give in to your hate. Don't give in to your hate." So
anger leads to hatred.
Yeah. So if it's just that, then yawn, because
right. In other words, I'll say all these things that if I said them slightly differently would sound bad. Look, if you use fear and just dwell in fear and anger, it really helps you accomplish stuff. That sounds bad, but if you're like, look, sometimes we have to dig deep into ourselves, and I don't know, if I say it soft, somehow it sounds more palatable. Yeah. Like, okay.
And if it seems like what I'm looking for is a more enlightened or intelligent critique of the Jedi, it is. Okay. It's like, okay, let's really have that conversation then. But, this is just going to feel like the same old stuff that we're
right.
It just keeps like in between the fights, we have some little talks about how if you're angry, you shouldn't fight.
And it comes a little hollow after seeing him just wipe a bunch of folks out. And I get it. He's like, oh, I was defending myself, but okay, you did it very gleefully. Put it that. I mean, but it's like so. I don't mind murdering people and neck snapping them and and shish kebabbing them and all that kind of stuff. But look, it's just all I want is peace.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't. It's gonna feel like she will end up being really seduced at all.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be sort of like oh, I tricked you into getting mad. Now come over the dark. You're almost there. Kill me. Kill me. Yeah, that bit that you had, in the original ones, like strike me down, and
Your journey to the dark side will be complete.
Yeah.
Are Jedi allowed to ever get angry at anything? I feel like you can, right? If you don't kill, if you're like, oh, my toe, God bless it, son of a bitch. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I'm fine. Oh, no, it's the dark side. Too bad. I got to quit. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We learned some information, although it's still, like, this show is annoyingly doing the hide the ball thing. Like, it's just, to what end? We're in we're up to 7 now, 7 of 8. And there's still...
Oh, yeah, in this one, I guess we finally got this, what is it, the 2 whatever?
The rule of 2.
The rule of 2. What is this rule of 2?
The rule of 2 was a rule established by some of the elder Sith in order to train safely. Essentially, it was like, oh, if we keep in secret in these little groups of 2, it seems to be the best way for us to work in secret. I mean, I feel like it's fairly obvious now. He talks about he had a master. And notably, when he says his master hurt him or whatever, he didn't say Jedi master. I think Osha's like, "Oh, you're Jedi master," or something like that, and he doesn't respond. So, you had, I think, correctly surmised last time he was a Jedi in training, a Padawan of some kind. He does, for instance, he knows about the sensory deprivation helmets used in the training.
Sure.
And he somehow knows Saul. He's like, remember me? And so your thought, and I think it's right, is that at some point he was a little kid in Jedi training. Somewhere he got kicked out of the Jedi Order. He mentions he left them and he tries to parallels that to Osha. Like, oh, see, you also got bounced from the Jedi. Well, we're alike. So who knows why? Maybe because he was, expressing dark side. I use my anger to accomplish things. All right, well,
where's my star?
Yeah, exactly. So he gets bounced, and then he gets found by a Sith master, and I feel like at this point I'm willing to push the chips in on Vernestra, the green Jedi that we're meeting. I think she probably witnessed his training, saw him get kicked out, is secretly a Sith, and decided I'll take him on as my Sith apprentice, Sith acolyte or whatever.
Okay.
That's not a done deal. It might not be her, but there's been enough for me to kind of start questioning. One thing in this episode, he's got this nasty scar on his back, and he says, well, that's my master. And it's not, if you would think if the Jedi Master gave Chimere like a lightsaber strike or something to the back, it would be a clean cut. It is not a clean cut. And we see later that Vernestra's got this lightsaber whip. Seems a pretty unique item that I could imagine might cause such an injury if you got hit with it.
Sure.
Anyway, so, just saying.
Okay, all right.
Throwing Vernestra in there. I'll say this. Another thing that made me think about it, because I started thinking, has there been any evidence of Vernestra being the secret Sith, perhaps? One thing is she kind of insists on keeping everything quiet. She's like, oh, don't tell the council. And she insists on going to Kofar herself, even though we learned apparently, going faster than light makes her seasick or so whatever. She gets car sick. She's like, no, I'm going. I wouldn't be shocked if she runs with the theory that her Padawan mentioned that maybe Saul must have killed these Jedi, because if she just puts everything on Saul, then that protects her identity. That's what I'm getting. If she
that was, they're the worst detectives in the world.
I know, yes.
It's always like, well, it looks like it's this.
And again, it's that thing we talked about before, which is like they have such high tech and then such low tech.
Yeah.
You're like, basic detective work, you could figure out a lot more information than what you're like, oh, I don't know. Looks like, I guess Saul did it. Okay. Good. I'm glad you guys spent the 2 minutes required to figure that out. But there's a scene. It's when Vernestra gets introduced. It's in episode 1. And I went back and watched it, actually, because it was a scene that bothered me at the time, and I didn't necessarily know why. And I think, because I didn't know why it was there.
Okay.
And now I think I know why it's there. So
all right.
it's when we first meet Saul and he's teaching a class.
Right.
And he asks the students to connect with the Force and tell what they see until you have like, I see balance. I see life. And then this little girl says like, I see fire. It grows larger and consumes anything that tries to stop it. And we never come back to that moment or that kid. I'm like, that sounds like that's a warning sign for that kid. Anyway, but the character we meet right after that, who has just walked into the door, is Vernestra. And she's like, hi, and I think maybe this kid was picking up Vernestra having walked in,
all right,
is my thought. Anyway, so maybe
He's
the show was
walking
trying
around
to
saying, I'm
connect her.
so glad I burned those witches.
That's right. Yes.
And maybe sometime in the future there'll be some place known as Salem. And I would love that too.
That's right. The other kind of mysterious thing in this episode is, Saul. Even at the very end there, he hits light speed and takes off.
Yeah.
Instead of meeting with the folks. So again, I'm like, I'm not buying that he's, a Sith, or like he did something so bad that he's an irredeemable Jedi, fallen Jedi.
Okay.
So I'm trying to come up with why he's being so overwhelmingly mysterious, and So I feel like maybe the reason he had light speed is maybe he suspects Vernestra is the Sith, and he feels like he's got to stay away from her now. I don't know. That's just a shot in the dark. But I have a theory. I don't know if it's an all-encompassing theory. I have a theory about what happened 16 years ago. What is
yours?
Your theory?
Your theory?
This theory, which is mine. Miss Ann Elk. Miss.
What's my theory about what?
About what happened 16. Well, obviously Saul did something that, at least in his mind, is so terrible that he hasn't been able to talk about it.
Right.
Every time he's about to talk about it, so he can't. So
it's like, my souffle is ready. I'm sorry, I guess.
Right, exactly. So there has to be. It doesn't have to be, but in order for this story to make any sense, it needs to be something of weight. It can't just be well, you see, I thought that May was OSHA, and so I tried to save her, but I failed. I don't know. Whatever. It'd be like, there needs to be something he did that's like, whoa, okay, he actually did something, and it has weighed on his conscience. So, in your mind, is there something that you can think of that he did that is not to the I'm an irredeemable person now, but is something that he would then justifiably feel terrible about for the rest of his life?
You don't think it's the killing of the witches?
I think that's almost an irredeemable thing. If it just comes off as, they didn't want to let OSHA and May go, so we killed them. There's got to be, if he killed them in self-defense, then why would he feel terrible about it? Right?
It could be the, OSHA and May's other mother, who was, clearly they're building her up to be like, she's ready to go off. If she had started something that they finished, that's a gray area maybe. So,
it's a gray area, but is it this bad? If they started it and you're like, I was just defending my life. That happens all the time.
And there are all those people, who...
that's true. There were a lot of collateral damage.
There's all the other Jedi that could have escalated things to the point where it's like, oh, no, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, but you did that. Oh, no, we're all together, so we're all implicated.
Well, we do have
I
this.
was the
we
one
do
who
have
was
a
trying
scene.
to stop things. Yeah.
We have a scene from one of those trailers that almost certainly shows Kelnaka being mind controlled and attacking Torben. So I think at some point a witch controlled one of the. So that sounds bad. That sounds like an offensive thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's not like they're trying to use the Jedi to kill each other. But so I'm not sure. I just feel like that's not it. But it might. I mean, they die. There's a whole bunch of dead witches, and somebody killed them. So probably the Jedi did it.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the guilt comes more from. I'm going to go with that he mind wiped Osha. I think he changed her memory to something more palatable. Whatever the actual events happened that Osha maybe witnessed, everything from her sister saying, "I want to kill you," and then setting it on fire, to her like just waking up on the ship and he's like, "Yeah, it's fine now. Your sister burned everything. It was terrible." Like, I think when she was on the ship and unconscious again, he did something where he basically like erased her memory.
And you think that's redeemable?
It depends on the reasoning that he did it. Maybe he did it as a, not to say like, I want to train her and she can't be trained if she knows that I murdered. So fine. I mean, if it was more of to protect her own sanity or something, maybe she instituted the destruction, like started the fire somehow that killed and so he didn't want her to feel the guilt of having killed off her family. That's where I'm going, is like he did a mind altering trick and he has regretted it ever since, and that's where I'm going with it.
Okay. So does that mean that Venestra, that whatever she's concerned about is not related to this past thing? Is it merely
right?
That
I feel like it needs to be. Right. I feel like if she's not, it would be pretty lame. I feel like she needs to somehow be connected. So here's how I connect Vernestra to my instantly proven wrong theory. Okay. The Coven has these two kids without, fathers, and they say like, "Oh, but you know what we had to do to get them? Oh boy, let's not talk about that." So I feel like Vernestra and Chimere is probably her apprentice at this point, use their Sith powers to enable the Coven to have the twins. And there's probably like a bargain involved. Hey, once we do this power for you, you're going to have some special kids. We'd like one of them as a Sith, a pupil or something like that. Is my guess. Like they didn't just do it out of altruism. Like, that's fine. Here, they were like, oh, this will be good for us.
And so it's one of the mother's secrets, since they didn't mention it. She's just sort of like, what we had to do. Okay, I guess they said what we had to do.
Yeah, exactly. They're not talking about it, but they're like, what we had to do to do it. So they made a devil's bargain. Okay, so when the plan goes,
devil.
The devil, right? Yeah. When the plan goes to hell, then Vernestra now blames. Would be upset with the Jedi for screwing over their plans. And maybe that's what got Chimere kicked out. Maybe somehow in the aftermath of all that going wrong, she took out her anger on Chimere. And so he also blames the Jedi for basically causing his master to reject him, maybe. Again, I'm throwing out so many theories there. But I'm trying to find a way to connect Chimere, Vernestra, the Coven, the twins, with Saul's seemingly like inconsolable immoral act that he did, and I can't quite square that circle, but that's how I'm trying it right there.
Okay,
there you go. Right. That's my attempt, good sir.
I hear you. Something else that was distracting to me was the way that May was like, "Okay, I'm about to kill you. Let me."
Yes.
Do this.
Let me fly the ship.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "You take over while I go down and check things."
Yeah.
And she immediately changes to like, "I guess I'll be helpful for now."
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like
it's like
none of that made sense.
It only works if his back is turned. Like she was willing to fight him face to face earlier, but
she's supposed to kill him out of a weapon too. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, but she's given that up. So
she's given.
I'll
just use a dagger.
Yeah, she's already gone away from that so many times.
Yo, you're absolutely right though. That was whereas at least the Chimere because it's teach corrupt, so you could tell who's teaching, who's corrupting. But anyway, the Chimere / OSHA thing, at least there's a little bit of like OSHA is still, fairly antagonistic toward Chimere, but it doesn't want to just kill him in cold blood, and so she hears him out. Okay, that arc basically works. But the May Saul thing, the number of flip-flops May continues to do. She did it. She's done it for the last couple episodes, where 1 minute she's determined to kill them all. Then she's determined to turn herself in. Then she's determined to kill them all again. My master rejected me. Now I'm not going to do that. Oh, but I'm now going to go try to kill Saul and stab him. Why? Why? She's all over the map. It's annoying. Yeah.
And the bloodhound creature. Yeah.
God, it played for laughs.
Yeah.
So he obviously knows, and we assumed he did last episode, but he knows her scent or whatever. So he's oh, that's May. That's not OSHA. So instead of communicating that information to Saul, he goes downstairs and tries to step on her foot. And it was played for laughs. I mean, it was played obviously for laughs. But it was such a weird. Why would you choose that moment? I don't know. It was a dumb scene. It was a needlessly dumb scene to include in there. Yeah. So they've strung the mystery on a little bit longer. We got 2 more episodes this season.
That's good news.
Yeah, that's good news. That's good news. I guess I would go with you somewhere like a 5.5, something like that. Somewhere in the 5 range. I don't think it reaches 6 level, but it probably doesn't go as low as 4. So we'll go 5. We'll go 5. I mean, we'll take this to the end, and watch out. There's going to be an amazing twist. It's going to make this all seem awesome. I'm doubting that's the case, but yes. Anyway, so thank you, everybody. We'll be back talking about episode 7. We'll also be talking about House of the Dragon and the Lazarus Project. Come on back for those things. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir. And we'll talk to everybody next time.
Bye.